Hi and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is Vlogs About Nothing. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your night to join me. I really appreciate that. Now, as a kid growing up, there were two options, essentially, that you could go get fast food. I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Biggest city in the state of New Mexico, has been since I was born or a kid, you feel me? It is a bigger city. I mean, it's not big at all compared to other places. I think other places, like in Manhattan, for example, I think more people live on the tiny island of Manhattan or the place than do in this entire city. And this city's pretty big, but regardless, there was a time in my life where the only place that you could go out and get something to eat was essentially a Burger King or a McDonald's. That was like the original burger war. And I think that was free market at its best, right? I mean, back then they sold better food. It was cheaper, even when compared to modern day inflation and cost of living and so forth. And it really was a value. It really did provide a lot of potential and opportunity for middle America, especially as franchises were just currently going out there into the world and being implemented as such. I mean, this happened pretty quickly, but it really did benefit a lot of people. And here growing up, it was McDonald's or Burger King. And at some point, in between, Wendy's came along as sort of like the redheaded stepchild. Yeah, I couldn't just go away from that joke. And I want to say to, all of my Ron Weasley and Hermione, Ron Weasley, and I did say Hermione, always jealous because in canon, I guess Ron did marry Hermione, which is a problem for me because, anyways, those kinds of jokes, I'm not trying to lowball anyone, you feel me? And I feel like the fact that I have to clarify that is just indicative of how, kind of comfortable I want everybody to be with me, just so much as that, like, I don't want to be perceived as anything more than just kind of an entertainer who happens to say some jokes that don't need to be interpreted as cringe, because if that were the case, my entire life you could call me cringe again. You feel me? I literally spend 98% of my life making fun of myself. So, a very small percentage of my time is dedicated to actually, even committing to doing other kinds of jokes that like hate on somebody. So as it concerns their physical appearance and the rooting of that joke, I'm just saying I couldn't get away from it because Wendy is a ginger, and I'm just saying they came along late. And yeah, regardless, McDonald's or Burger King was the question that you asked yourself growing up as a kid, growing here in Albuquerque in the 90s. And I think that if you're growing up in today's world, and I say this because recently I dated someone who was old enough to literally like be my mom or my parent, like, and at that, a middle-aged parent or a younger parent. But I noticed because she had a kid that was turning into a young adult. But I noticed, like, being from that perspective, and, I'm almost 2 decades removed from that age, being middle age is a weird time in your life, literally. But, regardless, I bring that up because, Dutch Brothers is the new thing for people in their late teens to their mid 20s. You feel me? So I feel like people that are that age ask themselves whether or not they should go to Starbucks or Dutch Brothers. And that's kind of like all of where that was going. We do spend a lot of time here on this channel talking about nothing. Sometimes we get around to talking about something of nothing, but mostly it's nothing. So, and it's interesting because I have not really had a lot of ex jokes or anecdotes or anything, but I feel like that's only because I care less and less about it as time progresses, only so much that I still have a lot of material to draw from. Not just from, I mean, obviously, the bulk of it being like my experience within that very interesting scenario. She who shall not be named was somebody who, has provided me with a fire that is undying in its sort of need to just draw jokes, and because it was so damaging. It was such a damaging time in my life that I've decided to put up a block and just throw jokes at it, hoping that enough of them stick that like nothing comes through. You know what I mean? And so, like, I'm just saying that again, today's dilemma with young people, I feel like, is choosing between Starbucks and Dutch. And moreover, Dutch is winning that war, obviously, because nobody, not even boomers, like Starbucks anymore. And I mean, who would? You feel me? Like, their coffee does not taste as good as it used to. You can literally buy, like, their coffee at the grocery store. And sometimes I feel like that coffee is better and it can be controlled because it can be controlled, within the confines of your home. You can French brew that. You can, over the top hand brew it, or you can do all type of things, you feel me? But whatever you do, you can make it better than these guys down at Starbucks, because even if the best barista is there at a location, they can't really do much with ingredients that like don't make sense to be sold at Starbucks nowhere ever, not just like now in 2024, but even historically speaking. 20 years ago, Starbucks was a cool place to be. There was no other place to be. I mean, I remember being in bustling New York City, Manhattan, at peak time where Starbucks was just opened. And this was in Manhattan. And I gotta tell you, that particular vibe at that time was something that was, like, I can imagine being in a McDonald's, in like the 50s and 60s. It was like that way. You feel me? It was that vibe. And so it's interesting because now I feel like Dutch Brothers is competitively placing themselves strategically near Starbucks locations, and it's just cool, actually. That's a part of the free market that's cool. I mean, like Burger King and McDonald's. I mean, there are some free market competitors that aren't owned by the same people and that historically do provide one another with competition, and I feel like that is a good thing. That's one of the only small good things about how a free market can be, executed if done with any kind of ethical concern, as it is with the people that it employs and the people that it serves. You feel me? And so McDonald's didn't become the world's number one restaurant by volume and income because like they had terrible food. I mean, you feel me? Like, regardless of how standard one could argue the food may be now, I mean, we could all kind of agree that McDonald's has made us happy at one point in our lives. And even if it's just, and especially for those older people who got to eat the good McDonald's, again, just like me, I got to drink the good Starbucks. You feel me? Like, I don't, that's why I know this current Starbucks is garbage. And that's how new customers go in there and know that it's garbage, because they think, by fact, by opinion of their own through taste, that it's just not as good as the pods that, their millennial parents have set up in the kitchen ready for them to consume at a moment's notice, with the Starbucks branded white mocha creamer to pair alongside in the fridge. I mean, again, price per cup and unit, and moreover taste, is just so much cheaper at home. And I feel like Starbucks does itself a disservice by shorting itself in their coffee stores, by continuing to make their stores look like jail cells and very unwelcoming, and making public policy that like they get involved in drama, like when people want to use their bathroom and stuff. I mean, they should be more worried about the unions and like the concern as to why their workers are unionizing and why they have an inherent interest in crushing these unions, because they actually don't want any accountability or being told what to do in any kind of a way. And that's unfortunate, because if their own argument worked, then they wouldn't needing to be having a union there in the first place, because they'd be treating their people right, which is again their primary argument. But like, they're not treating their people right, so the union's there, so how can they use that argument? Like, I understand that. I hope you guys have a really safe Saturday night. Let's say it's Saturday night. Okay, I'm going with Saturday. If I'm wrong, as I say with everything I say every single time I say it in life. I would, half expect that, honestly, if we're being real with each other. But I try to go out of my way to make sure what I'm telling you isn't complete BS. Anyway, but like I bring that up because like I don't know what day it is, and I'm sorry if that makes me a bad person. I got a lot going on, and I do. It's Saturday because tomorrow's Sunday, and I have an interview, and I'm trying to like get a job and stuff. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying. It's crazy. I'm actively trying, even after all of these failures with trying again. It's just get up and try again. Try again until something works. It's just it's not like something that you just like a shirt that you change. It even takes me a few days to like switch up gears. I'm like, all right, well, that didn't work. Time to do something else. I hope that you guys have a really good night. I know that this is working, and I know that I appreciate you guys joining me here on my channel and my experiences of middle-aged life and all of its really cool, quirky, and gross things. So I hope that you guys take care of yourselves and have a great and safe night, all right? Bye.